Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yato anayati taratascha-te suavidyasvarat tene brahmaryadikavaye muyanti yat surayaha tejovanimidam yata vinimayo yatra tisargumirsha damna svena sada nirasta kuhukam satyam param timahi. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya.
Yaschintyate prayata panibir atvaragno trayani rukta vidinesha havir grihitva adhyatma yoga uta yogibir atma mayam yigyashubi paramabhagavatai parishta. Translation: sacrificers taking oblations in their cupped hands meditate upon you in the sacrificial fires using rules defined in the 3 Vedas. Similarly, the yogis absorbed in Atma meditate upon you, desiring knowledge of how to cross Maya. The most elevated devotees worship you with no material desires. Commentary. You are worshipped not only by devotees but by performers of karma in Jnana Kanda. Taking oblations with cupped hands, the sacrificers contemplate you in the sacrificial fires. They meditate that Indra and others are your vibhutis, representing your arms and other limbs. And the yogis who are inquisitive about crossing Maya meditate on you. The highest devotees, however, worship you without any desires. Parishta. May your lotus feet burn up all of our material desires. Paryushtaya tava vibhovanamala yeyam samparshadini bhagavati pratipatni vakshiri yasu pranitam amuyarhanam adadanno bhuyat sadangri rashubashaya dhumaketu. O Almighty Lord, you accept worship with the withered flower garland that we have prepared with devotion, with which Lakshmi must compete like a jealous co-wife. May your lotus feet always act as a blazing fire to consume the inauspicious desires within our hearts. Commentary. You consider the withered garlands offered by your dedicated devotees to be superior to most attractive Lakshmi? This is your affection for your devotees? Lakshmi competes like a co-wife with the withered garland? She thinks the withered garland resides on the Lord's chest, where I reside. Not interested in Lakshmi, you think, I cannot give up the withered garland since it has been offered by my unalloyed devotee. You accept the offering attentively, prepared with devotion. That the garland competes with Lakshmi is an appearance only, since no one can actually compete with Lakshmi. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachanine Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paskatyadi Satanine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gauravakta Vrinda. Amazing. The Lord and His devotees have an intense relationship, and Lakshmi Devi sees a devotee putting a garland on her Lord, and they say withered garland. Actually, devotees try to offer fancy, fresh garlands. But whether they're fresh or a little withered, it's not the matter. The matter is that they're made with love and devotion. What really is being pointed out at in this shlok is that the relationship of God with His devotees is 100% intensive degree. It's not something which happens along the side of other things. It is the very central moment, because you see, in love is in the details. How you do, how you look. You can look at a person with love, and you can look at a person with indifference, and you can look at a person with disgust. It's all in the eyes. It's the little wrinkles, how it goes. And when you're beaming love from your eyes, this is just like giving an embrace. Oh, He loves me so much. Like the devotees, they don't even look at Krishna's face. They look at His feet. And then they shyly glance up to catch a little look into His eyes also. But they don't want to go like, hey Krishna, what's going on? They're not challenging. They're not in the mood of taking. They're only in the mood of giving and praying. My Lord, remove my horrible desires. Remove anything which takes me further away from You. Jai Panchatattva. By the grace of the Panchatattva, You have come to this world to show us Your sweetness, Your Sankirtan movement, Your great spiritual master care program as Nityananda, Your truth giver and protector as Advaita Acharya, who brings the Lord into this world and into our heart. As Gadada Pandit, You are representing the unity in separation, where the Lord is there in Gauranga, but covered by Radha and accompanied as Gadada and as Srivas a pure devotee. You give us Your company and guidance. And this is what this shloka really emphasized, the devotee. The devotee for the Lord is more important than Lakshmi. Could that be? In German they say Jein. See, yes and no at the same time. Of course nobody can compete with Lakshmi, but devotion of a devotee to the Lord is so valuable, is so intensive, that even Lakshmi steps back. And it says here, she becomes a jealous co-wife. Of course it's a joke. Lakshmi, a jealous co-wife. She's always massaging the feet of the Lord. Nobody can step up to Lakshmi. But Lakshmi sees the Lord's heart is so soft when his devotee does anything for him. And this is the clue. This is our clue of today. That it is the love which gets us going to do something which gives us the connection with Krishna. Therefore Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Pranashyati. Krishna says, offer me with love a fruit, a flower, a leaf, a little water. Just when you offer it with love, everything becomes nurtured. Abre la puerta, llega gente, toma darshan. The most amazing thing is love, and the love of the devotee for Krishna is, even if it's in the bud stage, in the budding stage, even if it is just young beginning, it is the very essence, the very nectar essence, that love is there. Because Krishna is love, and he only wants your love. He's not interested in opulence, comforts. Like our India today is in a great difficulty. ¿Alguien tiene un papel de nariz?
They have all come to Rati Atiti Bhavan.
I can see. They are your disciples. So, thank you. So the essence of life is the quality of love. And the more spiritually advanced you become, the more intensity you will experience. Just like in the book of Srila Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he has described the stages, the levels of love, which are developing in a devotee after he is established in Nishtha. Comes Ruchi. From Ruchi comes Ashakti. From Ashakti comes Bhav. And then comes Mahabhav. These are intensities. The quality of bhakti really points at something very essential. You have love. You have so much love. And you could have even more love. And could get more intensive. And it could drive you crazy. Well, some kind of divine love craziness. Something beyond. Usually we always want to be in control, no? I control my crying, I control everything. I control my ecstasies. Can't control love. When true love manifests, it goes beyond your control. And that is Paramadvaiti. These are the symptoms of love when they're like tsunami waves who are overflooding the rest of your resistances and your preconceived notions of appropriate contact. Like Radharani faints. She just faints in front of Krishna at certain moments. Krishna can just snatch her so she will not fall on the ground. Sometimes Krishna cries like a baby. And he wants to touch Radharani's feet. Oh, what is this? Who can understand it? We are trying to understand things by creating mental parallels. When and where did I experience something like that? And the answer comes, nil, 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 nil. Never. Maybe you got an inkling of such loving searches inside of your heart. I'm not talking about love with attachment for material pleasure, which comes like they say from the honeymoon comes, there's no translation of that in English. In Spanish we see de la luna de miel a la luna de hiel. They say from the honeymoon to the ice experience. Everything is like frozen. But where's that love you proclaim to have? Frozen in time. Unfortunately, in this material world, that happens only too easy. That's why people get together and they separate nowadays. It's a very common thing. Even marriage in Europe is almost out of a fashion. More children were born out of wedlock than inside of marriage in Europe past years. So, not a good sign, because before everybody was getting married and having nice family, etc. Anyhow, today this is happening like this. So don't produce or don't try to get a parallel between the true love and this selfish love, which you also experience, which is a dopamine experience. It's a neurotransmitter experience. It's pretty far out. Somehow or other it has kept the procreation process going. Some other people say, oh yeah, we gotta have children and pay the price. And that is a good price you pay. And it's good because people learn to love at least by dedication to their family. This is a very good degree of preparation of love, but it's not the highest. And it's not multiplying into ecstasies. And it is not bringing true bhavas and premas in your heart. It's not. I mean, if you see a 60-year-old man looking with all fallen in love into looking in the eyes of his wife and saying, you are the love, you are the life, you are my everything. When you see that, quickly take a snap this for the museum. Because in the material world, we are all too selfish. to give ourselves to the other person completely. It's too much calculation. What happens in many families today? Father or mother dies and the children go straight away to the lawyer to settle their financial interest. They go to the lawyer. They make a court case. There was one case, I keep telling it, it's the case of Aditi. Aditi was married to a wealthy lawyer, and they had one daughter only. So the girl was 18, 19 years old when the father died. And the father, for the sake of tax saving, had put all his properties in the name of his daughter. So as they were standing there in their departure, father was going to be put under the ground. The daughter asked her mother, "Where are you going to live now?" The mother looked at her. "What do you mean, where I live? We're living in our house." "No," she says, "this is my house now." The mother, she was like, "What?" "Well," she said, "I guess then I have to rent another place or buy another place." Then the daughter asked, "Do you have money for that?" She said, "Yeah, of course we have money." He says, "But this is my money, not your money." Now you may think I made up that story. No. Aditi told me personally that's what happened. Her daughter kicked her out from the house. She had to go to another family member and lost everything because the father had put it in the daughter's name. And that was so good, so wonderful, so Aditi became a devotee. She took initiation and took up the path to Krishna consciousness. So it was a blessing in disguise for her. But oh God. So this so-called love story of this world, the girl she brought up, she nurtured. It is unthinkable, unbelievable, and I've seen it in my own life, in front of my eyes. Well, fortunately, I never had to meet this daughter girl. I was spared that experience. So, it's a bad story. Forget it. Forget the story. We want to talk about bhav and prem and ecstasy and Paramadvaiti with the intensity. What is all this all about? That there is something about love which is much, much, much higher than dopamine and neurotransmitters. You know, neurotransmitters, they can be very powerful, you know. Produces all kinds of like shock waves in your body, no? Pleasure shock waves. We all have that. It's something as stupid as chocolate. Chocolate, white sugar, is a dopamine effect. It brings about a drug effect. So as soon as you eat it, you go, it lasts very short because it just liquid, it becomes liquid and disappears into your system. Get me another piece. So there is this pleasure transmission in this world is very intensive, and we all have it, and it's also God-given, because somehow or other He got us in this world going on. But this is nothing in compared to the increasing love potential you have inside, which starts with gratefulness, continues with compassion, and then turns into divine dedication. When you want to simply give your life and your soul, when you want to give yourself to your beloved. And what is the good thing about giving your life to the beloved Lord Krishna? The most amazing thing is, when you give your love to the Lord, your love becomes so high potential, multiplied, that all of a sudden you have love enough for everyone. For everyone. For the animals also. We should have much more love for the animals. Our scarcity or our what is missing of love for the animals, it is so severe. That's why we keep those animals in the cruel slaughterhouses, in the mass factory farms, and simultaneously destroying our Bhumimata and the water resources. It is criminal. It is truly criminal. It is the biggest aggression, the biggest war against the welfare of humanity and the survival of our species is the factory farms and the slaughterhouses. And that's not my emotional outburst, not because I'm a sentimental animal lover. No, these are the number figures which show what is animal husbandry doing to the world and how we lose our compassion in everything. This message has to be spread. I have a very nice talk of a gentleman from Australia who gave a parliament speech, so powerful that when you hear it and you don't become a vegetarian after that, then you should check in with the psychologist, because you must have something wrong in your brain. Something seriously wrong. It's so important, this issue, compassion to animals. So I wanted to say something about India today. India today, to a larger degree, is following the Western way. We think that our sensations, which we will get from big cars, big house, big fame, big all crazy things the Western world has produced, that they will give you a higher kick, a higher sensation for life. Today I have to give a talk for the 3rd Mother Earth Parliament meeting in Bogota in August, talking about consumer society. Now, consumer society, it has a positive connotation because we have been convinced that consuming is something good. I can consume, I got money, I can buy an extra dress, an extra pair of shoes. Imelda Marcos, the wife of the president of Philippines, she had 3,000 pairs of shoes. The poor feet of her, adapting to all those shoes. She had dresses, some dresses worth $200,000 alte couture made by the best dressmakers of Paris. Yes. So consume has gotten a positive connotation in the material world and a negative connotation for the spiritualists. Because the spiritualists, they always tried to reduce the unnecessary expenditure and the unnecessary wastefulness of life. Today we go exactly the opposite way. You buy a little stick like flesh card, and it's within this package, and that's within this package, and this is within package, and finally you get a box. Just to buy a stick, which is like nothing. We package and package and package, we package and package and package and package. We're packaging the whole world into a disaster. Everywhere the packages, nobody knows what to do with the packages. Nobody knows what to do with the polybags. It's a disaster, and we know it already. Just yesterday, there was a report of one man who went down into the deepest parts of the ocean, some street somewhere in the Asian space, 12,000 meters deep underground. And he went there with one device, a submarine, which could support such a depth. And you know what he found on the ground? Aluminum cans, plastic waste, all kinds of garbage on the ground of the ocean floor. Our junk had reached the last corner of the world, 12,000 meters below the ocean surface. And on the surface, islands of plastic. So, we got it wrong. And India got it wrong right now. And you go to any of the festivals, even of the VJP and other organizations, they got it wrong. They use plastic items. They use all the fancy gear. Oh, let's have a festival. Let us put all plastic decorations and everything. In Indian marriage, usually of the rich people, I mean, the Kumbh Mela was getting better this year. They were doing something, but it was still the amount of plastic produced in the Kumbh Mela was still criminal. Because I was swimming in the Yamuna every day. The plastic of the offerings, everybody, it was just hitting me left and right and left and right. So much plastic was, and I don't know what the people do. They make an offering, they buy an offering, like in the Kumbh Mela, people buy this food for the birds because there's so many birds, so they get a kick out of it. They throw the food in the air, and the birds sometimes snatch it from their hands. It's like a bird feeding ground. And as soon as the bag is empty, they throw it in the Yamuna. What's on their mind? Have they not been to school? Has nobody told them anything? What happened with Swachh Bharat? What happened? We are in Kumbh Mela. And why nobody says, one bag in this ground, 1,000 rupees fine? No, there's no fines. You can do any damn it thing in India and nobody will give you a fine. Unless it's a big crime, and then you pay the judge. What is this? Where is our Bharata Varsha culture? We are following the West. But the West has already understood that you have to clean up this garbage, even though they don't know what to do with it either. Because they are promoting consumer culture. Consume, consume, consume. Buy more, buy more, buy more. Never be happy with what you have. Because if you're happy with what you have, then you don't want to buy more. Then you get out of the consumer culture. So we have to make in you a lot of envy, a lot of greed. By the way, how many dresses you have? Oh, I have 7. Really? I only have 5. Wow, I guess I gotta quickly buy more dresses because this other one has more dresses than me. You know, sometimes you meet a girl and after 2 years she still wears only 2 saris. And you wonder, wow, what's going on here? Because she's a wonderful devotee and she don't care about saris. She just dresses them so that she can do her service. Now, we don't want to exaggerate. Let the ladies have a good amount of saris, it's okay. Let them have what you need to have a comfortable home. But do not become a consumer. Don't become a slave of the consumer society. And don't buy anything which is harmful to you or to Mother Nature. And that is tough, because it's also nicely plastic wrapped. Yesterday I caught a devotee eating chocolate. But not any kind of chocolate. It was Toblerone. And Toblerone, I know, has egg inside. It's made with the white of the eggs. And the devotee never looked at the package and said, this is not, we cannot eat this, we break our principle. Now, how many junk foods, how many industrial foods are somehow or other contaminated by non-vegetarian ingredients? You cannot even imagine. You cannot even imagine. The slaughterhouse industry has permeated our food industry completely. White sugar, produced by filtering through bones. So you get nice bone filter sugar. And then you can have your nice sweets. But they're not strictly vegetarian. And there's many other things I can tell you, many examples. So we have to give up the consumer society. Do you know, with gore, with jaggery, you can make the best sweets in the world. You don't need white sugar, bag. Not at all. You can make the best sweets with jaggery, but it should be organic jaggery. And it should be produced without putting any grease in the mold, which comes from the slaughterhouses. Because that's what they do in South America. The people, when they put the sugar into the cup where it gets the piece of gore, they put some animal fat grease in it. So your jaggery is also contaminated. So it is a very serious thing. But here's my point. Krishna love gives you the higher taste. I am not promoting to you give up consumer society at the cost of happiness. No. Consumer society is not producing real happiness. Real happiness comes from the higher taste. Real happiness comes from the intensity of love. You know, love plus turbo, to utilize modern language. You understand that, Radhesham? Love plus turbo. You don't know what that means? When they make the cars hybrid to go like rockets, then you buy a turbo car or a plus. That means always this value added. Something is added. So, but love plus turbo, that is prem. That's the only real love. And the love in prem, it intensifies. It's never getting stale. is not something you get bored of. Now, is such a thing existing? Is that a fantasy? Is all of the Krishna love story a big fantasy? Or is that real? Now, I can give you an evidence. A very simple evidence. Look at devotees' ashram life. Nobody of our girls in the Vishnu Priya ashram, not one of them, in 30 years of being here, has requested me to put an AC in the Vishnu Priya ashram. And they also suffer from the heat in the small rooms. None of them. Have you secretly installed an AC there? Yes, for Krishna? Huh? One room? You did? No problem, but you didn't ask me. So, and anyway, one room, it is quite okay, but I'm saying our devotees, they're living with a small cut. They are not asking for fancy furniture. They are not asking for fancy cushions. Anything, they are so happy. The true proof is when you live in a Vaishnava community, you live with hardly anything and you don't want to have it. You don't need it. Because you have such an intensive joy in your life that you simply say, wow. Of course, we have a very good life. We can go to Hanuman school. We can go Yamuna Kunja. We have many nice things. I'm not saying that we are too difficult life, but it is true. The devotees, just like take Vaishnava Seva. He went 100 times crossing the frontier from Venezuela to Colombia and Ecuador, etc., to smuggle Krishna books through the most dangerous areas in the world. And he wasn't paid for that. That wasn't that he was a big smuggler who made a lot of money. No. For devotional service, he took those books and confronted the guerrillas, and so many people said, these are Prabhupada books, they're good for the world, let them pass. And they let him pass 100 times. No sane person would cross this border only once without books, because they're so dangerous, so difficult areas. So who can understand what Krishna is doing? Krishna is giving us a higher taste. We don't need useless waste society. We don't like it. We want to get rid of it. Of course, then we get a fan because the fans are so convenient in this very hot climate. So we also buy a fan. We are not extremists, we are not fanatics, but we are against the waste society. Totally Western style waste society. People change the car every year. People change the furniture every year. And what do they do with the old furniture? They just throw it on the street. If you want to make your house look like King Louis of France, all you have to go to Germany at the day when everybody throws out their furniture. They put out all the most fancy things, you know. Some people live collecting the fancy things and reselling them. So, consumer society is not it. I tell you, consumer society is not happiness. It is really just a waste of time. And if you want to compete in the consumer society, It's going on everywhere. It's going on everywhere. It's going on everywhere. Especially in the neighborhoods of the rich people, no? Everybody wants to put his house one floor higher, one fancy garden, one swimming pool, one this, one that, one this, one that. And in the end, they have to put a railing around their property with barbed wire. Here they do it for the monkeys, but there they do it for the thieves. And then they have a guard. And then in the end, their fancy house looks like a jail. So they actually end up living in the jail they have created for themselves. We don't have this problem here. We can even live a few girls in a room. It's no problem for us. Few devotees. I established when I started the Vrinda mission, I said in our Vrinda mission we should not have private rooms. Not even for sannyasis and not even for temple presidents. No private rooms. Sleep with others and get up together. And if somebody cannot sleep with others for some reason, then you can sleep in the office. No problem. But no private rooms. Because then the whole thing is, and who has the biggest room? Once you start the private room business, and who has the AC in his room, and who has a fridge in his room, and some people want to cook in their own room. There's no end to it. Consumer society, comfort seeking. So we always want to open the space of our heart. If we have our own room, we always invite somebody, come, be with me. We don't keep it just for ourselves. I give the example, I have no private room. Always people can sleep with me in the same room. I also never had even a private mail. Never had a private telephone. Never had a private Facebook or anything like that. Because privacy is very prone to selfishness. And private property, that's the worst of it. That's why they have a nice saying in South America, if you have a shop, then you can stay inside. If you have a house, you better get married, get somebody to look after your house. And if you have land, then you can choose where they can bury you after. This is, you know, we are not against private property. Some people have to have it. It's useful for certain things. But for spiritual life, we don't need it. For spiritual life, it is better not to have private property. Especially in the ashram area. Especially in the temple area. If somebody has a house around, no problem. Whatever people want to have, Krishna can provide. He can even provide palaces if you want. There's so many stupid palaces around the world. Every stupid idiot builds himself a mansion nowadays. Especially if they're in the IT business or anything like that. Immediately they have another mansion. I don't know where they get so much money. But it's not happiness. In the ashram, everybody's welcome. I can say to you, welcome, this is your home. It's not polite talk. No, if you want to live here, you can live here the rest of your life. Of course, you have to work here for it. It's not that you just live there and become a bum at the cost of others. No, not like that. But you can live in the ashram. I can live, I have at my choice a minimum of 10,000 ashrams I can live immediately. They will all receive me with open arms and say, oh, thank you, you're coming to our ashram. So nice, so nice. 10,000 ashram. And they'll provide me roof, food, everything. And that's in the Gaudiya tradition. if I go to the other yoga tradition, and if I go to the Buddhist tradition, and then I have millions of places to go to. Because everywhere where you are spiritually conscious, the doors are open. Basically. In the Buddhism, they're a little bit more tough. But in Krishna consciousness, you can join an ashram. I joined an ashram at 9 o'clock at night. Because I came late. They already finished the program. They were just finishing the eating at night. I came through the door and I was dirty on top because I had traveled 2 days. Stinking. So I asked the person in charge, can I stay here? He looked at me, said yes. I never knew him before. I never had visited that place before, and nobody knew me. I had no credentials of anything. And then he asked me, how long you want to stay? And I thought, I said, maybe a week? Well, the week has not ended yet. So I know it's true, it's no fantasy. I was received with open arms and I lived for my spiritual master in these ashrams. But and all the things we are offering to him is the offering to you, my friend. Prabhupada didn't need anything. Prabhupada had so many places he didn't know where to go because there was too many places to live. I cannot go to the places where I'm welcome because no time. Impossible. And if I go, I stay 1 day. So, Krishna is very kind, you know. You could say that any devotees has much more opulence than any selfish person because the whole world is open for him. All the palaces are there. And if nobody takes me in, I go to Vrindavan. Then he will take me in. No problem. But service must be our motivation. The higher taste comes from service, when I want to serve. I want to do anything. You send me to the cook, to the kitchen. You know, the kitchen is the best place because everybody likes to eat. And if you're a good cook, they beg you, can you please go to the kitchen? So if you're doing service, and that is what Krishna is doing. That's why he loves us. Because he's doing service for us all the time. And that's why you should love him, because you can do service for Krishna. Reciprocal. That is the thing. You offer a garland to Krishna. Krishna sends his devotee to offer a garland to you. This garland comes from Krishna. Because a devotee took it, says, let me give this garland. You see? That's what this shloka was about. The withered garland which makes Lakshmi feel jealous. Because somebody could give that garland. Imagine. This is how dear Krishna is. Jai. Darshan.